Hello, YouTube. Okay, well, today I'm going to talk to you about a couple things one of the things that I was going to address on the last video, which was, we're talking about um, adult children of abusive parents. It's one of those topics that no one really wants to talk about. So I want to talk about it because it's something that happens every day. Um, if you guys remember, there was also a stint where people were supposedly accidentally leaving their children in their cars um, to die. One incident in particular was the guy had just taken his son to breakfast, but hear him tell it, he forgot that the kid was in the car like, what, 15, 20 minutes later or something to that effect, and the child lost his life. It was in the summertime. So I guess I'm fortunate in the sense of I didn't get killed, although Vera, the mother, would have liked that because she didn't want me in the first place. So I was going to address my accident, and if you remember, and if you saw my previous videos, you know that I talked about there were adult things that I've experienced that I never shared with the parents because I would have been reprimanded for that. I would have gotten in trouble for that. The two separate instances where two different guys tried to attack me. One tried to rape me, and another one, he dragged me down and tried to drag me down into the basement of the school. And thank God somebody came through the double doors and he let me go, and I flew out of there. You guys would be proud of me. I wasn't like, one of those chicks in a movie, ah, and then she falls and the monster attacks her. I was out of there. And I had heels on, and I was out of there like an Olympic champion. You'd be surprised what you can do when you don't have a choice. And then another incident where a guy who was old enough to be my father was hanging in the bathroom, watching me use the bathroom, and then they both did identical things. So I don't know if there's like a rape school that they go to or something. But they both grabbed me and were standing behind me, and I could feel them breathing on my neck. And even to this day, I can feel that. It's just really creepy. But I couldn't tell the parents because what did I do to cause that to happen would have been the response. So you just learn, keep your mouth shut, like I said before. I did have a car accident in which I almost died. I was driving a car too fast considering the road conditions. It was starting to snow. As you know, fresh snow is like melted butter. You know, if you lose control, then it's a really bad deal. I lost control. I had my best friend in the car at the time. Lost control of the car, spun around once, hit the wall of the bridge, and I had a sensation of falling into a black hole that didn't have a bottom, and I waited to hit water, which never happened, but that's where my mind was. And then the car spun around again and hit the guardrail. To this day, I have no clue how we got to the hospital. I have no idea whatsoever. I just know that we were there. I used to work in the medical field, and I don't do well as a patient. No, no, no. I don't do well as a patient. I freak out, I break out in a sweat, I start shaking, and I refuse to be seen. And so, and like I said, I kept this a secret. Um, the medical staff were like, you need to be seen too. And I was like, I don't really care about me. I care more about my friend because she hit her head on the dashboard. So I was more concerned about that and her having a head injury. And, they said, but you need to be seen too. And yeah, I didn't want to be seen. I just wanted out of there. We'll make sure she's okay, and then let's get the heck out of there. And then I went to work the next day. I was working as a security officer in a mall, and my coworker jumped my world. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm on the schedule." "Right. But you were almost killed in a car accident yesterday. Why are you here?" And then he looked at me and he said, "You're shaking." And I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Yes, you are." Tone of voice, woman, don't mess with me. You know, and I didn't realize that I had been shaking, and I basically shook for my entire shift, so I should not have been at work. Um, I used to dance and do gymnastics and cheerleading and all that other stuff, and I went down in a straddle. For those of you that don't know what a straddle is, a split goes that way. A straddle is when your legs are out that way. So I went down after my accident, which wasn't very bright. I will tell you it wasn't bright. Um, Went down in a straddle, and I felt pain in my back. I felt like a hypodermic needle was injected in my back. The pain was just horrible, and I thought that was pain from not working out enough because I hadn't worked out in a while, and I did it again, and that wasn't smart after a car accident. I would never advise it. It's just not a smart thing. So, the next day when I got out of bed, every step I took, I bawled because it hurt so bad. The pain was just so awful. Um, oh my God, the pain. I mean, my back was killing me. So anyway, called the doctor's office, bawling my eyes out. And I'll never forget the lady on the phone. She was a sweetheart. She was a real total sweetheart. I said, I need to be seen. I had a car accident yesterday and I'm in a lot of pain. You know, and she said, well, it's okay. Can you come in today? And I said, yes, you know. And she said, well, we'll see you when you get here, okay? And she was just a gem, I swear to you. I mean, you never forget people who are the nicest in the middle of chaos. Well, unfortunately for me, I had health insurance through my job at the time, and unfortunately for me, they did not conduct a proper medical exam on me. They did not do x-rays. They didn't do a physical exam. They didn't do anything. I should not have been at work. I should have been off work for a while. I should have been resting. Basically, if you take a dish rag and you go, and you whip it around 2 times hard and fast, that's what my body did. So something should tell you that it would be a good idea for me to get an x-ray. I don't know, I'm just saying. I'm in my 20s. I don't know that I should probably teach the doctor how to do his job or her job. I assume they know what they're doing. Yeah, good luck with that. But they gave me a muscle relaxer. That was about it. Here's some Flexeril. You should be all good. Yeah. So I've got some chronic health issues that are not going to go away as a result of that, and I really don't want to get into that at this particular point in time. People make a lot of assumptions based on if you have a chronic condition. They love to, you know, treat you like you're helpless or assume that, oh great, I'm going to have to take care of her. Excuse me, no, you don't. I can take care of myself. I'm a big girl. I'm over 18. I can take care of myself. And I've got the big man up there taking excellent care of me, so I'm good. But people make a lot of assumptions based on that, so I really don't even like to have that discussion, really. But yeah, I had to keep all that a secret from the parents, because I would have been attacked for that. You know, you're an idiot for having an accident. My God, you're stupid. You know, blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't want to freaking hear it. You know, I'm not a Bible beater at all. I'm extremely open-minded. You know, and I know that that accident could have gone all kind of ways. But God granted me, I'm not going to get emotional, I promise. I'm working on it. I'm not going to get emotional. God granted me the ability as a child to be able to handle those adult situations. The attempted rape, the other guy that wanted to do whatever, having to keep the car accident a secret, you know, things like that. My first real heartbreak in a relationship, had to keep that a secret, you know. Yeah. So, with that being said, let's talk about sex. Want to do that? Let's do that. I didn't know until several years ago that Veronica was very promiscuous. Do you remember, if you saw my previous videos, you will know that I said that I noticed a trend of people who are severely mentally ill. They love to say how mentally ill you are. They love to give you a rundown of what all your problems are. Oh, they love that because they don't want to look in the mirror. So she accused me of being, basically, I was promiscuous in her mind, but actually she was the one who was promiscuous. There's a family member that she was having an affair with. Let's just say someone caught them in a awkward post-sex situation, and we'll just leave it at that. So she was having an affair with the family member. She was married to Dave, the father, whatever that means, because he was never one of those. Anyway, she was married to him, and she was flirty with another family member. She was exposing her body when she was wearing a nightgown, or no, excuse me, a bathrobe. She was exposing her nude body underneath. But she treated me like I was a whore. But I was a virgin. And like I told a friend of mine, I said, I don't know how you could be a virgin and a whore, but I guess it's possible. Who knew? Very strange. Very, 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 very strange. And I didn't find that out till later. And my, you know, birds and bees talk, or we never even had a birds and bees talk. That was basically, you better not come up in here pregnant. Well, you can't get pregnant if you're not having sex, but I guess that's possible too. I'm not the Virgin Mary. No, that's not possible for me. Wow. So you better not get come home pregnant. That was the birth control sex talk. And then you're going to have your menstrual every month, and this is what's going to happen, and you need to do this to take care of it. And that was the extent of it. So I never had any guidance. I never had a mentor. I never had anyone to tell me the do's and don'ts of life. I grew up very naive, and so many things that other girls who had guidance, they knew those things, and I did not, because I just didn't have a mentor. And then I had visited some family in North Carolina, and my godmother at the time wanted to be like a mom to me. Well, at that point, I was in my teens, I think. And I've been so used to not having a parent that the last thing I needed was a mother. And I told her that. And I wasn't trying to hurt her feelings. I was just like, I didn't really need that. I said, I don't need a mother. And she didn't miss a beat. She said, well, what do you need? And I said, a big sister would be good. And she's like, okay, I can do that. So I was grateful that, I hope I didn't hurt her feelings, you know. People, I mean, how's that supposed to make a person feel? Well, I don't need that. You know, that's usually not a good thing, but that's how I felt at the time. You know, your first love, your first heartbreak, I didn't have anyone to confide in regards to that. I did talk to my godmother about it because I was visiting her out of state at the time. So many relationship things I wish I had been told. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is, I wanted to talk to you about relationships, and whether they're friends relationships, or relationships with your family members, or a romantic relationship. When you've been targeted and victimized your whole life, people who are mentally ill, people who are bipolar, narcissistic, dissociative identity disorder, which is the same thing as multiple personality disorder, and narcissist, oh honey, you will never have so many narcissists head in your direction as fast and as hard as possible. And what we have to do, and I talked about that briefly in another video, and what we need to do is draw some serious boundaries, because I think on some level, people who have significant issues, they like to target us. I don't know if they subconsciously think because you're nice, you're a sucker. I don't know if once they find out what you've been through, they figure, well, hey, this is open season, honey. I could do whatever I want to you because you're used to it. Even people who don't know what I've been through, that I've known, have thought it would be, they thought it would be a good idea to test me and to be rude and to be disrespectful. And one of my friends jokes with me and says, "Oh, the reason you go crazy is because you're a Scorpio." We've got tempers. Not that I'm into astrology too heavy, but anyway. Um, those of us with PTSD, and a lot of us who have been um, targeted our entire lives, we end up, unfortunately, with PTSD. You can have manageable PTSD, or you can have unmanageable PTSD, and you can have PTSD that's manageable until somebody repeatedly crosses the line. And then I have to go to the crazy page. I don't like to be toyed with. I don't like to be lied to. I don't like my emotions played with. Of course, no one does. But when when we've reached a point of emotional well-being and emotional strength, we don't take that crap no more. So I don't usually flip out. I usually give people plenty of warnings. All right, you're starting to tick me off. I think you better stop. Um, However, let me backtrack. And I told you I'm going to probably do that a couple times in these videos. But um, when I was in my 20s, and I'm not embarrassed to say it because I'm just keeping it real. Like I told you before, I was going to keep it real. I had a serious rage problem, which is not uncommon of people who have been abused their entire lives. Even, I guess, I had a mean streak when I was in my late teens, early 20s. You mess with me, I will cuss you out so bad it's not funny. And even in my teen years, I remember I was a part of a summer camp, and a girl decided she wanted to pick a fight with somebody. And she chose the wrong person that day. I gave her plenty of warnings. She did not heed any of the warnings. And I'm like, look, that's enough. And I guess she thought I was joking, which I was not joking, and she quickly found that out. I don't know if it's because I watched karate on TV. I don't know how I managed to do this, but I took her arm and I twisted my body, and her arm went over my shoulder somehow, and I flipped her to the ground. I don't know how I did that. Well, I was a hero the rest of the day because people didn't really like her anyway. So they were like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a hero. I just told her to leave me alone. you know. We're not going to take that crap. We're just not. And if you don't heed the warnings, I don't really know what to tell you. I'm not a violent person, but when I was younger, I was more likely to be physical with you if you kept testing me. You don't heed the warnings, you're not too smart. That's all I can say about that. There was another incident where, and again, I warned her repeatedly. She didn't listen. She didn't want to listen. Everybody thinks that because I'm a nice girl, I'm just, like I said, open season. Go ahead and do what you want to her. She don't care. She's so nice, she don't care. Try it and see how far you go with that. So anyway, I was really, I don't want to say volatile, but there were so many of my childhood issues that were not resolved. So when you're growing up in a volatile home, you're allowed to show fear. You're allowed to show depression and sadness. You're not allowed to show anger. You're not allowed to show any type of normal emotion to normal things. You just don't. So that anger, you don't even know that anger's there until you get older, and then someone tests you, and they test you, and they test you, and then you snap. That anger, all those emotions of how you've been treated manifest in the form of some serious anger and potentially rage. And I remember there was another girl, and this is divine intervention. I'm here to tell you this is divine intervention, because I was going to take her out of here. I was going to kill her. She was messing with me, and I told her repeatedly, get out of my face, get out of my face. I don't know why people think I'm playing when I do that. And she just wouldn't stop. So I just snapped, and I chased after her. I remember, and for those of you that don't believe in God, you might as well click off this video right now. And like I said, I don't like negative comments, so don't even waste your time with that either. I'll disable comments in a heartbeat, so don't play with me. Anyway, so I chased her through the auditorium, down the hallway, through the auditorium, through these double doors. And somehow she fell, or I knocked her down. I don't know how, but she ended up on the ground. And you have to remember, I was still having a rage problem. There were so many unresolved issues that I was dealing with emotionally as a result of what I've been through. So she ended up on the ground outside, and I ended up somehow on top of her, and I took a beer bottle off the ground, and I raised it real high in the air, and I was going to hit her upside her head with it. I'm not going to put scratches on you. I'm not going to put scars on you. I'm going to take you out. And so I whacked her. No, I didn't whack her. I wanted to whack her. Let me clarify. I did not hit her. I wanted to. And when I raised my arm up in the air and I had that beer bottle poised, positioned to whack her, I heard a voice in my head that was so authoritative, and it stopped me dead in my tracks. All I heard was one word: don't. And I stopped dead in my tracks like, whoa. You know, and I stopped dead, you know, I stopped, and that was all she wrote, and we were done, and that was that. I'm very grateful for that, because there were a couple of instances that had I responded off of my rage, I would have ended up in detention, juvenile detention, and I would have ended up in jail. When I'm old enough to, you know, an adult, I'd be old enough to go to jail. So I'm really glad that I went to therapy, which I talked about in another video. Went through several before I found one that was halfway normal. One was talking on the phone for like 15 minutes while I'm sitting in her office waiting to have a session with her. Who does that? Yeah. Yeah. So, wow. Yeah, there's just, like I said, there's so much. You know, pregnancy is preventable. You know, it's preventable. There's birth control. Birth control has been around for quite a long time. Condoms have been around for quite a long time. Um, you know, there's no reason. And first of all, let's not even go into the pregnancy. Let's go into, how dare you be gender specific when you get knocked up? This isn't JCPenney, honey, where you can just order something from a catalog. I want a boy, and I want another boy, and I don't want a girl. We'll just send that back with the receipt. You get what you get. Are you that stupid? You get what you get. If you can't handle it, and you got knocked up with the wrong gender, give me to my grandparents. They would have loved to raise me. My grandfather, God bless his soul. I love you. I love you, Grandpa. He was not a sentimental person at all. He just was not a sentimental person. He didn't say I love you and all that business. So you knew that he loved you because you could feel it when you were in his presence. You could just feel it. It was like the love was emanating from him, you know. And I remember, I love bananas. I can eat me some bananas. And I remember Grandma used to buy, I lived with them at the time. And, yeah. So Grandma had bought bananas, and I ate all of them, and I didn't realize I ate all of them. And then my grandfather, he approached me, and he said, can you do me a favor? Okay, what's that? Next time, Mom, he called he called his wife, my grandma, Mama. Next time I'm gonna buy some bananas. Can you save me some? Oh, did I eat all of them? I'm sorry. I was like, wow, I didn't mean to do that, And then another time, I had blonded my hair. If that's even a word. I had made my hair blonde. And I didn't know you're supposed to use a toner. So I made my hair blonde. And as I'm blow drying it, oh, honey, you thought it was blonde. You ain't seen nothing yet. It got brighter yellow, brighter and brighter and brighter. The more I blow dried it, the brighter it got. So my grandfather is standing in the doorway, and he starts laughing. And I said, what? He goes, now you really look Puerto Rican, And I just freaking lost. It was so damn funny. But the thing that was the most, and I'm going to try real hard not to get emotional. I swear I'm going to try really hard. One thing that touched me more than anything is the fact that one day he said to me, you're the daughter I never had. And I just thought that was phenomenal because no one had ever said that. I was no one's anything, up until that point. People just didn't talk to me like that. They just didn't, you know. So when he passed away, so it's like a great thing that he said that, but at the same time, uh, when he passed away, that's all I kept hearing. So now you get to deal with the grief of losing him, coupled with hearing that echo in your head. You're the daughter I never had. You're the daughter I never had. So you're already grieving, and then you're just like, because it's a beautiful thing, but it can be torturous when that person's no longer here. You know what I'm saying? So there is, you can heal. You can heal. I used to say all the time, I don't have any family. I don't have any parents. I do have a dad, and God's my dad. He's my dad. He's my father. He loves me. When nobody else cares, he does. When guys are looking at women like, oh, girl, you look like steak on a plate, he doesn't look at me like that. He created everything that I have. So he's not fascinated with my body. He respects me as a human being, and he loves me when no one else was able to. Why they weren't able to, I don't know. I really don't know. I wasn't asked to dances. I wasn't asked to the prom. Um, and when guys in high school did show interest, it was for the wrong reasons. I'm sure every woman can relate to that. Um, even as an adult, I wasn't invited to things. And there was a place I used to work, and I'm not even going to mention what place this was that I used to work at, but it was in the medical field, and I'll just leave it at that. Well, anyway, we were all having dinner. They didn't like me anyway because I'm not from around here. They don't like brown skin. They think it's dirt. Somebody needs to tap them on the shoulder and hit them with melanin. That's what it's called, melanin. It's in your skin. It's not dirt. I invest in a lot of soaps, and it doesn't come off because it's in my skin. It's not on the surface, so it's not dirt. Shh, don't tell nobody, but it's not dirt. Actually, tell everyone so people can stop judging you for how you look, which has nothing to do with who you are as a person on the inside. I think that judging people for how they look is the stupidest reason to judge someone. It is the most dumb reason. You're hating someone over something that they have zero control over. But I'm not even going to go into that topic. But anyway, moving right along from that conversation. So we were having dinner around the holiday time. I had brought a dessert in. I can make a pretty decent cake. I'm pretty decent in the kitchen. I haven't had any complaints. Um, I bought a dessert because I don't want to, you don't want to go to dinner with your hand out and get free food. And they're like, well, what did you bring? So I made sure I brought something. One of my coworkers had a problem with it. He's like, did you bring a dessert? I said, yeah, I brought the cake. And he goes, well, now we got another dessert. Show me somebody who has a problem with too many desserts. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just looking for a reason to be nasty. Um, don't you know the entire time we sat at the table having Thanksgiving dinner? I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas. One of those. Don't you know I was ignored? Yeah. I was ignored the entire time. My boss at the time came in. He sensed that he used to be a police officer, so he came in and he sensed the tension and he said, are you all right? And I'm like, I looked at them like, yeah, I'm fine. Well, come on, he's a cop. He can read body language. He can read in my face that it's not all right. And that's not the first time he picked up on that, by the way. So this isn't a figment of my imagination. And I don't even think it matters what part of the country you live in. Some parts of the country are a lot worse than others. Okay, that goes without saying. But anyway, I tried everything in my power not to just bawl. Because I've been dealing with that my whole life. You are invisible. You are nothing. You'll never amount to anything. And we don't even want to look at you. Ugh. Well, guess what? He doesn't have a problem with me. So my heart's going to beat whether you hate me or you don't. The biggest gift, which is kind of a gift and almost a curse at the same time. Biggest gift I got was learning about love and learning how to love, despite what I grew up with. I love my friends. I'm super fortunate that I have great friends, and I love them and I adore them, and we do things that other people don't do. We do what we say we're going to do. We're reliable. We have each other's back through the thick and thin, which is how it used to be in the olden days. Well, we still do that. Okay. I learned how to love, and I wasn't taught that growing up, so I know where that came from. Yeah. The hatred, and the people who hate and still do, um, that type of negativity can destroy your health. Stress will kill you. Ask a doctor who knows. They'll tell you stress will kill you. So if you're willing to die early because you had a heart attack or stroke or liver failure or kidney failure or whatever, heart attack, whatever, you're willing to do that because you want to hate so hard, good luck. Because there's people 6 feet under who did the same thing. It's just not smart. You get a lot more out of people when you're genuine with them, when you're sincere with them, when you love them with all your heart. If people don't appreciate that, fire them. Fire them. Get rid of them. Will it hurt? You betcha. Will you possibly sometimes cry your eyes out? You betcha. But if you don't draw boundaries around yourself, strong, solid boundaries, people will do whatever they want to you because they figure you're nice, you'll take it. Until you snap in karate, you throw them to the floor. Then they realize you're not playing. You know what I'm saying? So, oh my goodness. If you guys have any questions for me, by all means ask down below. I used to take care of kids, and one girl in particular, I knew her when she was in onesie pajamas, and she's probably an adult now. That's kind of scary. I don't even want to think about that. Oh my God. Anyway, but I remember when I put her down for a nap every day, we had a routine. I put her in the crib, I hug her, I kiss her, and I tell her I love you. I mean, we just did this every day. And one day I put her in the crib, and I guess I forgot to, I hugged her, I think, and I forgot to say I love you. And I was walking out of the room and she called me and I said, yeah, babe. She said, you didn't say I love you. I said, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I do love you. I've got a lot on my mind today. I'm so sorry, you know. And I hugged her and kissed her and told her I love you. That's a gift because I wasn't taught that. I wasn't taught that. Um, but you don't have to be a bad result of what you come from. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to be negative. You don't have to get off on negativity. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be racist. And one of Vera's friends was racist. There was a girl that I was friends with, and she's from Holland. She's more white than a piece of paper. We were best friends for years and years and years. And when I told her, she said, oh, she's white? I said, yeah. Well, she's Holland. She's actually Dutch. She's from Holland. Oh, well, you must have been desperate for her to be your friend. Here's a newsflash. I don't judge my friends according to their color. I was so appalled that she said that. I didn't even know how, to be quite honest with you, I didn't even know how to respond to that. She's a nurse. Vera and her went to school together. You live in New York. New York is a melting pot. Every person, well, not every person, people from all over the world are in New York, and you're racist? Like, in order for me to choose her for my friend, and I must have couldn't find nobody else, is basically what she's saying. And it's like, I don't care how I was treated. I don't care if I was hated for my color. I don't care what I was hated for. I'm not going to do that because that's not normal. It's not normal behavior. I don't care if everybody's doing it. I'll be the only one who's not doing it. We hit it off the minute we met. Now, could I be like other people and be like, oh, I was hated my whole life. I'm going to hate you too. Could I be ignorant like that? Sure. Would I do it? No, because it's stupid. And you can miss out on a valuable friendship or relationship or family member, because there's families that have all kinds of ethnicities in the family. You can miss out on something incredibly special because your brain is narrow-minded. Your thought process is narrow-minded. Just because you were born out of hate, don't keep the hate ball bouncing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You be the change. You be the difference. You be the one who knows how to show love. You can do it. And you will do it. You will learn. You can heal. You can go to therapy. You don't have to be in prison in your head for the rest of your life. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be addicted to drugs. You don't have to be an alcoholic. You don't have to be everybody's worst nightmare because of how you grew up. I just terminated, I don't know what you would call it. It was supposedly a friendship. Anyway, I would never be friends with this person again. The emotional agony that this person has put me through, wow. Wow. This person has significant mental illness. We come from similar backgrounds. And I guess through her mental illness, she's going to make everybody pay. If you make the mistake of crossing her path, you may not pay for it right now, but you will pay. If you stay in contact with this person long enough, you will pay for it. So for my emotional well-being, I had to put a stop to it. Unlike the demons that I grew up with, I have the ability to love unconditionally, provided I think you love me too. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to just throw my feelings out there and dance for you like I'm a puppet on stage or something, or, you know, I'm not going to do a a Broadway show to make you like me. Either you do or you don't. If you don't, sayonara, have a nice life. But if I think it's mutual, hey, you know, I'm there for you and we should be there for each other. Well, like I said, we have similar backgrounds, and this person is OCD about a lot of things, but not OCD about that, getting that squared away. So everyone's going to pay for that. I got tired of paying for it. I'm a living example of what you don't have to continue just because you were trained. You had on-the-job training since you were knee-high to a grasshopper. You had on-the-job training of learning how to be hateful and to learn how to be a monster. You don't have to subject yourself to that. You don't have to subject other people to that. You don't have to turn into a monster just because you were raised by monsters. And we're in the year 2015, about to be 2016, and guess what? There's therapy. If you can't afford therapy, there's churches that pastors will give you free counseling. There's group therapies. There are medications. There are CAT scan machines. There are MRIs. There's a full body workup in case what's wrong with you is physical or physiological or whatever. There are medications that can help you. Now, is there enough? I don't think there's enough studies being done in relation to mental illness. I don't think we're making a whole lot of progress with that. But if there's not funding made available for those, then there may not be the proper studies and whatever. I'm sure it's a whole bunch of political red tape with that. But you just don't have to subject yourself to that. And the reason I bring this up around this time of year is because this time of year is the worst for me because everyone's doing the family thing, you know. They love telling everybody, we going to auntie house, we going to the cousin's house, we going over here, we going over there, you know, and some of us don't have that. And I'm so used to being without it that even if I were to get invited somewhere, I don't want to go. I need to be by myself. I don't have that option that everybody else has. So, and I'm so used to being ignored and blown off that I'm at the point where I prefer to be by myself. And I'm a fish out of water here. I don't belong in the Midwest, but I'm here for now. And when I get to escape, thank you, Jesus. But anyway, the next video that I do, I'm going to share with you things that I've done that's really fun, that's really exciting. And as you can see, yes, I do have a tat. If you want to know more about my tattoos, then by all means, ask me, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you about those. I swore up and down I'd never get a tattoo. Be careful what you swear you're never gonna do. I've got several, but anyway, I guess that's a good thing about being hated by everybody, it seems, except for the people that do love me. You don't really care who hates what about you because you've been hated your whole life anyway, so you don't really care. You don't like my tattoos, so what? So what else is new? You hated me before the tattoos. You know? And I can't tell you how many guys will say, my ex-wife is a monster. My ex-wife did this. She stopped having sex with me. My ex-wife is a monster. She don't cook. She don't clean. She's a lazy bitch. Right. And they'll jump over me to find somebody identical to her. So I don't want to hear you crying about what you can't find and there's nobody out there, because that's a load of crap. Maybe you were attracted to her because of something that you grew up with, you know. So you saw familiar traits in someone that automatically hooked you in. That does not mean that's a good thing. I fell into that trap too. I'm in the process of trying to break that trap. You know, finding people that are emotionally unavailable, and they're everywhere. There's so many toxic people out there nowadays. I don't know if parents are just having kids because it's the thing to do. It's a conversation thing. I don't know, but they're not raising these people right. Males and females. No, they're not raising them with manners and respect, because if you were raised that way, you would treat other people with manners and respect. Here's the weird part. I wasn't raised with that, but I do it because you would do the right thing in the household I grew up in, or you would get dismembered while you're alive. So you just, you know, I don't know. That's a whole another chapter of another book. But anyway, I've got a list of things. I'll have to write them down, because if you think I'm going to remember them all, you can forget it. But I'm a fun person. I love outdoors. Love outdoors. Always have. Love boating. That's my phone, but I'm obviously in a video right now. So, excuse me. So, I'll have to call them back. But anyway, I love outdoors. I love animals. I am crazy. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Crazy about wildcats. Oh my God, I love them. I got to hold, long time ago, I got to hold a baby tiger. Forget it, I was done. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you straight up, I was done. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. Um, yeah, these people, I guess they travel to different places with the cubs, you know, you could take pictures with them and whatnot. So that was amazing. I mean, I named her Shakira. Don't laugh. I named her Shakira. Her paws were like double the size of my hands, you know, and I'm feeding her a bottle, and she's trying to hold the bottle, and I was like, I got it. I got it. It's all right. I was a mama. I mean, everything in the world disappeared. Everything dissolved, melted away. And I was a mama. This is my kid, you know. And I would love to have that experience again. Unfortunately, that's not, you know, that doesn't happen all the time. And other states have more opportunities than here. Other parts of the country have a lot more opportunities in the Midwest. So, you know, whatever. But if I ever get that opportunity again, whoo, I'm all over that with both feet. I have a proverbial bucket list, I guess you could say, of things that I want to do. I've always been adventurous and pretty spontaneous, depending on the situation, you know. Um, so yeah, I'd like to give you a peep of more about me and who I am and what I'm about. And I've had people tell me, I'm just really floored by you. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because you're not a drug addict, because you're not a criminal, you're not an alcoholic, you know. And that's not me, that's the big man, you know. Um, I would, if I didn't get that rage under control, I was heading down the wrong path. There's no question about it. I was heading down the wrong path. That rage would have carried into my adulthood, and I would have, well, in my teens, I had the rage, and then it would have just continued and got worse and worse and worse, and I would have done some horrible things. And so, therapy is definitely the key. I asked a friend of mine, I said, if your friends told you, dude, you're losing it, man. I don't know what's wrong with you, but your personality is like all over the place. What, you know, you're acting wild, you know. What would you do? He said, I would ask them, well, what am I doing? How am I acting? Like, give me an example. I said, exactly. That's what a healthy person does. They don't ignore the fact that their brain is, they don't ignore that. They actually take responsibility for it. And if they don't have the ability to take responsibility for it, that's where your loved ones come in and say, baby, we got to get you some help, because you're starting to, you're acting irrational. We've got to get you some help, you know. Um, some people they don't want the help. You know why? Because the dysfunction is what they're comfortable with. That's what they grew up with, and they don't want no different. I'm the opposite. I grew up with that. I don't want that. No. So you got to find joy where you can. I think everybody should have a bucket list. I really do. I mean, you know, Um, I challenge you, for those of you that watch this video, I challenge you to, you don't have to make it a long list, but show me in the comments below, show me what you have on your bucket list. And I'm going to work, don't worry, I'm going to do my homework and I'm going to do a bucket list too. I mean, come on, I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not going to do. It doesn't have to be a long list, maybe the top 5 things or the top 10 things, whatever. I'm just curious to know, you know, what gets your engine revving, you know? What do you like to do? What is a dream for you? What do you want to do before it's too late? So I look forward to seeing those comments, and I love you guys. You don't have to stay trapped. I'm a living example. You do not have to stay trapped your whole life unless you want to. And that's not a fun place to be. It's just not. Find joy, find your smile, find your laughter. Gravitate towards people who love you, not people who are trying to take advantage of you, but gravitate towards people who love you. And you don't have to do anything to win their love and win their approval. They'll love you for who you are as long as you're a good person. You know what I'm saying? I will talk to you soon, and I look forward to your bucket lists. This ought to be fun. All right. I love you guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay?